Hello and welcome to the build-up for Spurs against West Ham United. Kick-off in just over an hour and team lineups are 5 minutes away. But if the rumours are correct, there's 2 changes to the West Ham 11, but both to the back 4. We'll go through that when the lineups are confirmed. Tom, how are you feeling? Is your sort of West Ham optimisms coming in this morning since you got up?
Yeah, hopefully it'll be the same as the Man United game. No, not so much today. I don't know. I think Man United was just a one-off. That was just one of them mornings when I woke up feeling good about West Ham. That's a very rare thing these days. No, listen, Spurs are a fantastic side, and I think that we've got our work cut out for us today. They've won all of their games so far at their new stadium, and they haven't conceded at their new stadium. So whatever happens today, it's going to be a tough game.
Is this, Tom, before we see the lineups, obviously, I mean, your opinion may change in 5 minutes' time, but is this the best opportunity that we could have to beat them, though? They've got the Champions League semi-final, obviously they've got Kane injured, they've got a couple of other injuries like Sissoko, Winks, etc. Is this as good, I say easy as it's going to get? Is this as best as it's going to get for West Ham?
I don't think it's going to change my mind. That's why I was laughing. But I think when I watched Pochettino's press conference, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, and he said that today was more important than Tuesday. So he clearly does take this seriously, this competition. Obviously, he wants to cement third spot. I think they can go a few points above Chelsea if they win today. So I don't expect him to field a weak inside. Every time you sort of see, Kane's injured and Lucas comes in, you expect him to dip in form, but he's got them all singing off of the same hymn sheet, and that is difficult to swallow sometimes, I guess, being a West Ham fan and then being Spurs. But at the end of the day, no matter who comes in to replace, they all do their part, because, like I said, Pochettino just has them just singing to the beat of his drum, and it's going to be difficult no matter who he puts out there. But obviously, a few key injuries, and I'm sure even though he says today's more important, he will have one eye on the Champions League on Tuesday, and fingers crossed that he puts out some of the youngsters, like Skip or Winks or sort of lesser players, known players, Walker Peters maybe. But yeah, fingers crossed for a sort of a weakened, I guess, Spurs team.
Mike, let's forget about the fact that they sort of tried to slag us off by calling it our cup final, etc. How are you feeling? Is the excitement building a little bit? Because this is a big fixture for us as football fans.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's a game I always look forward to. Obviously, it's in the first game that we played in the new stadium, and yeah, I'm really excited about it because it just always is a thrill to play them. I watched the preview, and I must say I share none of the optimism that the three of you guys did in the preview with Tom. But I don't want to be too doom and gloom. I think the players will be up for it, and we'll give them a game. Let's put it that way. There's always a special atmosphere when these two teams meet there, and they are the team we love to try and put one over more than anyone else, except maybe Chelsea. Actually, no, more than Chelsea. So yeah, it's always exciting to play Spurs. We're looking forward to it.
Mike, what do you make of how important is this game to Spurs? Would you expect them to field a weakened/rotated side with the Champions League on Tuesday, or are you expecting Pochettino to put out his best 11 and win this one, and then worry about Tuesday after the game?
I think there will be a bit of rotation, but I think they can afford to do the squad that they've got. Their big problem is, they've got Son, as you rightly pointed out in the preview, and he's suspended on Wednesday, isn't he? So he will undoubtedly play. Their biggest issue is in midfield, because I don't know if Sissoko's still injured, because he had a groin injury, didn't he?
I think so.
And he's injured.
I believe so, but we'll wait and see. We'll find out in a minute.
That's their weak area. They don't really have the squad depth. Even if they rotate one player, they're still going to have to play the rest of their first team central midfield. So for them, I can see them making changes in defence. Llorente will come in, probably, I would have thought. And I would, but then they're going to have to play their first team midfield, whether they like it or not. They haven't really got that many options in that spot, unless they got some youth team player. In that case, they really are almost really handing the initiative to us.
Yeah, enough of the if, buts, and maybes. The lineups are out. If you've noticed our title of our video, you can see what we are expecting to happen. I can confirm that has happened. The West Ham 11, there's 2 changes to the last 2 teams that faced Man United and Leicester City. Fabianski continues in goal as always. First change at right back is Ryan Fredericks comes in for Pablo Zabaleta, who drops to the bench. Diop comes back in to partner Balbuena at the centre-back position, with Ogbonna dropping to the bench as well. So it's not injuries, they are tactical changes by Pellegrini. Masuaku continues at left back. No Alan Creswell in the squad. Rice, Noble and Snodgrass in midfield. Anderson, Antonio and Anatovic as the attacking three. Tom, what's your first thoughts about that? Two changes and both in the back four.
I'm a little bit interested actually to see Fredericks come back in. I thought that Zabaleta had his best game for us for a while against Leicester. And obviously, I know we conceded 2 goals, but I thought after he went off, he was flacking. Maybe he had just, didn't. I know he hadn't played for a few weeks, and maybe there was a little niggle there. He was just tired. But I thought he had his best game for us in a long time. So interested to see him drop to the bench. I'm glad that the rest of the team sort of stayed the same, as it were. I thought obviously we mentioned the other week how Antonio's come on leaps and bounds in the last few weeks. And obviously Snodgrass, who again we all thought had a brilliant game against Leicester. And what was the other change? So I didn't hear you. Was it Diop in for Ogbonna?
Diop's come in for Ogbonna, so it's Diop and Balbuena back at centre half.
I think that's the best possible centre back partnership for us. Obviously, I know that you sort of may have alluded to the fact that Diop maybe hadn't been hitting form of recent weeks, but I think that on his day, I think those two they had a real understanding with each other just before Christmas and just after Christmas, before Balbuena got injured, and I think that. Although they haven't played together for a while, I think I feel a lot more, sure of the back four when those two are there instead of Ogbonna, because he's always an accident waiting to happen. And obviously, at the same time, I'm glad, almost sort of semi-glad that Masuaku is playing, I guess, maybe his attacking threat today. But he's got to be really careful because there's going to have a lot of fast, pacey players in Lucas. His son, a few others that are all looking to try and get in behind, especially when Eriksen can pick that killer ball if he plays. I haven't obviously seen the team sheet yet. So Masuaku does have to be careful because that could also be a sort of disaster waiting to happen, knowing how he can track forward and then not track back.
We'll get the Spurs 11 in a minute. It's much as you'd expect, though. Mike, let's get your views on the West Ham 11. Are you happy with what you're seeing there? And also the sort of the centre-back position makes sense to me. The Balbuena and Diop partnership, it's steady. We know about it. I think the risk is the right back one because I thought Zabaleta was playing well, but do you think he's simply going for pace up against Spurs as fast wide players?
Yeah, I think it's the case. I can see the logic behind it. I'm not surprised in any way, shape, or form because, as you say, they did have a winning partnership. Until Balbuena got injured, and also. He has already talked at length about we can't keep conceding 2 goals away from home at every game. So he obviously was good. I thought he was going to make a chance there. That's pretty much what I guessed. And Diop, I know he lost form a little bit in the last few games, but he has had a couple of weeks off now. So I'm hoping that he was just a bit tired. Actually, he's played pretty much every single game, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? So I'm hoping a bit of a rest and he'll come back refreshed and get that partnership going with his with Balbuena again. I agree with you as well. I probably would have stuck with Zabaleta for this because just the old head, on those experience that he's got. He's gone Fredericks' raw pace. But Fredericks has an attitude, doesn't he? I could see Spurs trying to wind him up because he gets wound up in games. Let's see what happens. I'm sure you're going to go there now.
He's an ex-Spurs player as well, so this could be a little incentive for Ryan Fredericks back at his old club, although he didn't really play much for them, etc. And the bench, there's lots of experience. No youngsters on the bench for West Ham today. Adrian, Hernandez, Wilshere, Obiang, Perez, Ogbonna, and Zabaleta. Lots of experience on the bench. A strong bench for Pellegrini, but perhaps disappointing not to see any youngsters on there. No Diangana, no Holland, no Coventry, etc. Now let's take a quick look and chat about the Tottenham 11. Lloris starts in goal, and they've gone for their back three with Davies, Sanchez, and Alderweireld. Foyth right wing back, Rose left wing back, and then they've got Ali, Dyer, Eriksen in the middle with Son and Lucas as the sort of the attacking options there. Tom, is that enough to strike fear into you, or are you quite comfortable with that?
Trick question. I love that. Yeah, It is obviously going forward. Like I said, I think that the pace of Son and Lucas with Eriksen's killer balls, Declan Rice is going to have to be on top of his game today to potentially be cutting out any of those passes and nullify anything Eriksen has going forward. At the same time, Fredericks and Masuaku have got to be so careful. Obviously, both being so attacking minded, that can work against us in our favour today. And I think the one positive is that I have watched Spurs the last few games, not out of choice, but obviously with TV, Sky, Champions League and all that. Juan Foyt at right back, I thought last week against Man City, I thought he really struggled. Obviously, it doesn't really look like a natural position for him. Obviously, he's a centre-half by trade. And I've watched Danny Rose as well in the last few weeks, and I've got a few Spurs mates, as I'm sure we all do, that are linked to West Ham, and he's been absolutely woeful. I think they're having a crisis with both their wing-backs this year. If it was Davies, Trippier, Rose, none of them have been on song, so it's been a real headache for Pochettino to try and actually get a team that his fullbacks are going to be playing well in. So obviously maybe having those big three centre halves, and obviously Davies playing as one of the centre halves, but still Sanchez and is it Alderweireld?
Yeah,
playing. Yeah, it's it's going to be a tough ask for Arnautovic up front. There's going to be times in the game where he's going to get bullied by them because there's some big boys back there. They really are. So we're going to have to take our chances. But I think the one weakness is the fact that they've got Foyt and Rose at the wing back spot, and obviously that's been a weak spot, like I said, for them for the last few weeks.
What do you make of their lineup, Mike? Do you agree with Tom that the wing backs are there to be got at? But also, what is you looking at that Spurs 11?
Well, on the plus side for us, yes, I think the width is where we're going to get at them. We've got Anderson and Antonio playing, who are playing to get forward, especially Antonio. Hopefully he'll get a Rose, and Tom's right, Rose has been pretty dreadful. He also has an attitude problem, so I'm hoping that he'll get bullied a bit as well by Antonio, who's a big, strong, fast player. And now Mitch is going to get isolated. They're playing three central defence by the looks of it, so that he will end up getting isolated there. But it does give us a bit of room in midfield. A lot comes down to Rice here. Obviously, he's going to need to pick up Eriksen, but if we've got Snodgrass who likes to work fast and can pass the ball as well, and Noble is more of a deep line midfielder, I can see us really getting at them. We might be able to dominate that midfield a little bit. It's 3-on-3 in there, so it's right centre of that part. And it's up to how well Rice and Noble and Snodgrass can dominate. That's going to be the part that really, that's going to be the part area of the pitch, I think, that will determine whether we can get something out of the game or not. Yeah,
the interesting thing is Spurs' bench contains two right back / right wing back options. They've got Trippier and Kyle Walker-Peters on the bench there. So Foyt is really a tactical decision by Pochettino. And he's also got Skip, Janssen, Wanyama, the goalkeeper Gaza Ningaza, who's his name, and Lorente. So a decent experience on the bench. I agree with Tom. Their wing backs are there to be got at. I think their formation actually suits us in a way because they've got three centre backs. That means they're missing a player somewhere else on the pitch, and we've got to capitalise on that. And this is where Masuaku and Fredericks are probably going to be our key players today because they're either going to help get us something by getting up the park, using their pace, or they're going to lose us it by getting too far up the park, or not getting back quick enough. They're both defensively questionable. I know Masuaku's been decent the last couple of games, but it was Masuaku's man that scored the equaliser at the London Stadium last weekend. You cannot get away from that. I think Ogbonna was at fault for it. I think that's why he's dropped today, because he comes running out the back line in the 92nd minute. There's no need to do that. But we need to be disciplined today. It's all about, as like Tom, I've watched the last few Spurs games, and Tom will agree, I think, that if you sit in and you're organised, Spurs have been struggling a little bit. They struggled against Brighton. They were putting in lots of crosses, but Duffy and Dunk were completely under control, even though they had Lorente in the box. Ali's been a bit under par recently, but he does turn up for a game against West Ham, Dele Alli. I know we all say about Mark Noble, but he does it for Spurs. And if we can get on Christian Eriksen, we really cannot afford to let him play today. But this is where I would like to see our three centre midfielders sit quite deep, actually, and let Masuaku and Fredericks provide the width and get Antonio and Anderson sort of tucking in alongside Arnautovic, if you like, and that would be our attack. Just tell Snodgrass, Noble, and Rice not to worry too much about attacking and just protect the defence, if you like, and cover the wing backs. Tom, can I get your final thoughts on the game and a score prediction from yourself, please?
Yeah, I mean, if nothing good comes from today other than the Spurs win, let's just hope that what's his face? What my having a complete brain fart. Got the phone's going. The Declan Rice has a much better game than Eric Dyer and can shut all the Spurs fans up about who should be playing for England and who shouldn't. So I mean, it's going to be a tough game. We know that. Everybody's going to be up for it. It's our cup final, so it's a massive game. And yeah, I just much like I said, I think that like you said and what I've said is I think their wing backs are there to be got, and it's just whether or not our players can turn up on the day. We know that they can go missing. They have been missing for the last few weeks. Anderson's going to have to step up today. Arnautovic is going to have to step up today. That midfield's got their work cut out for them, and obviously the keys to the game being our wing backs. But I don't know. After seeing the Spurs lineup, I feel a bit more slightly confident than I did earlier. So I'm probably gonna I can't say that Spurs are going to win on a derby day, am I? No, I'll say 2-2. There you go, 2-2.
2-2. Mike, can I get your final words, please, and your score prediction as well?
Your idea that we could sit deep and try and offer it to them to break down and counter-attack them is a lovely one. I think Pellegrini's going to go for it. I think that's a line-up, which means he wants action. Like we did against Man U. Yeah, that's what he wants to see us do that again. That's how I think he's going to tell the players to play this, which will offer them quite a lot of space behind. So I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this. I do think we can get at them, but I do think they can get at us. I would love to say we're going to draw a win. I think it'll be 3-2 to them, but I think it'll be a thriller. Let's put it like that.
Have your little Mike's got a score prediction for us?
What do you think the score's going to be, Ivo? Quickly.
3-2 like that.
All right, and Rose, quickly.
It's going to be 2-1.
2-2 Spurs.
Yeah.
2-1 to Spurs and 3-2 to Spurs.
Well, you haven't got them up very well, have you, Mike?
Hang on. Hang on. We have another guest. Maisie, wag your tail if West Ham will win today. Oh, you see, wag your tail if West Ham. Wag your tail if West Ham will win. There you go. See, she predicts everything. This dog. I tell you, that's it. There, right there.
Fantastic. Tom's Dobbs optimistic. Callum Brady's optimistic. And I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham. I'm sticking my preview score. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. Subscribe when you're around here. You can join myself, Tom, and Charlie for the review straight after the game on the other channel. Links in the description and all that good stuff. And we'll see you soon. Enjoy the game.